No, you're fine, I got enough.
Whenever you're ready.
Recording in progress.
Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call for the record. Mayor Lindsay,
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Howe,
Here.
Councillor Crane,
Here.
Councillor Weeks,
Here.
and Councillor Humber.
Here.
We have a quorum, you may proceed.
Okay, if I could please, someone make a motion to approve the agenda.
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
We could have a motion to approve the consent agenda.
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
At this time, we had one person sign up to speak this evening, that would be Jackie Boyd.
Mr. Mayor, Council, Clerk Strickland, Manager Weir, I was going to present this at the airport meeting this morning, but it had been canceled. Don Welker, don't know if you remember the name or not, brought me onto the County Airport Advisory Committee in 2010. And he and I started the Saturday morning coffee group in 2011. If you've ever come to coffee with us, you know that the group is constantly in flux, depending on the time of year, whether they're part-timers, full-timers, transient pilots out for a Saturday fun flight, commercial pilots with passengers, or village residents with questions. It's always a changing group. We've had a great surprise the last couple of weeks with residents of the Angel Fire RV Resort Park who are pilots, and they've started to join us. I started the Angel Fire Airport Facebook page several years ago when Carl Shilcutt was the airport manager. The administrative duty of that passed to Fraser McPhee, and when he resigned and left Angel Fire, he passed it along to the Angel Fire Tourist Department. The page was fairly inactive for a while, so I requested administrative privileges in order to once again make recent posts for the airport. It's been fun to share recent summer activities on the page and then share those posts with the other active Angel Fire Facebook pages. And as we all know, one of the main means of communication for us is Facebook. Well, in checking the usage stats, in the past 60 days, we've had 13,551 views. In the past 28 days, we've had 11,620 views. I appreciate that the Village of Angel Fire has made the decision and the commitment to take on significant financial responsibility of the transition from county ownership to village ownership. And I fully appreciate the opportunity to help promote the airport as a volunteer, which doesn't incur any expense to the village or add to the already overloaded job descriptions of the current employees. I love this little airport. It's what brought me and my late husband here in 1988. And so doing everything possible that I can do to see that the transition is a success is very important to me, and I appreciate that opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any announcements or proclamation by the council this evening? If not, we'll move on to our staff reports, and we will start with our airport director, Jeff Gilman.
Good morning, or good evening, Mr. Mayor and Council. Clerk Strickland, Manager Weir. Hold on. Don't want to sit back, you want? Hold on a second.
That chair.
Jake. I want to start with stats, so we'll hit the low-hanging easy fruit right to begin with. Stats for this past month were revenues of $23,000. Of that, $14,000 of it was in the Jet A, and I know you're all aware that our truck died on us July the 2nd, and where it was down for 3 weeks, 4 weeks to get going. So literally, we had a $6,000 month for Jet A in July, and we're at $14,000 the next month. So the significance of that truck is pretty high. Part of the reason I'm focusing on that is, guess what? The truck's dead again. It died this morning, and that won't start. So the village has got its mechanics working on it, but I just wanted you to be aware, the status report on that truck. Because of that, I reached out to our fuel vendor, and he is going to be sending me some paperwork basically on what it would take to either rent a truck short time, lease a truck year to year until we can procure a new truck for grants, through a grant. And then anyhow, we're going to work this out so we don't have this revenue loss, because that truck is outstanding. My guys this morning busted their butts. They got an airplane that was waiting on gas. They got it fueled up the hard way, and so I really appreciate Scott and Chris working what they did to get that done. Any questions on the stats? Year to date, we're at $101,112. So we're still on line to meet or beat last year and the year before. So that's revenue. And one of the nice things about that, except for the sundry expenses, just the operating, what I'm showing you here is mostly revenue. The fuel stats of basically the fuel's keystone, so you cut that 14,000 in half, that's profit to the village on the fuel. So second part, sponsorship. This is getting to some really exciting stuff. So right now, the FAA has agreed to take our sponsorship paperwork to the top of their list. They are finishing up the grant writing season. That gets done by the end of this month, which is the end of the federal fiscal year. And then we're right at the top to get that Exhibit A that we've been trying to get through for the last 6 months on the table, reviewed. The cursory look was very good. He was very excited to see it. This is our representative for the airports down in Texas. In that vein, with the consulting firm, we're about 99% done with the financial. So that's the second part of the package that has to go into our regional office and then the national office at headquarters for approval. And we've got a few housekeeping things. We're trying to figure out some of the equipment at the airport. Was it bought by grant or was it bought by the county? And some of it's so old that it's kind of hard to find, where this stuff comes from. So we should have that tied up before the end of the week. But in doing that, I got a call from Mike Branham, who is the assistant manager of the airport district office, and he is going to be paying us a visit this week. So in the last 6 weeks, we'll have visits both from our rep and his boss personally coming here to review. It's not an inspection. He made that very clear. He comes up, he wants to talk where we're at, where we're headed, what can we do to get this thing moving forward. I think the last meeting that we had gone through, it became very apparent to the FAA that this needed to get handled so we can continue, like Ms. Jackie said, we can get things moving forward to the benefit of the community and the airport. In regards to that, I got a wonderful email yesterday from the FAA. The CIP that we had submitted back in March, the capital improvement plan, it's a 5-year plan. Everything was approved to be for the next 5 years for us to go out and get money on. So next year, it's basically, besides the housekeeping items, basic maintenance items and things like that, we've got the $2.5 million for snow removal equipment once the president signs, the bill. And then we have a couple $100,000 that will go into a firm that will come in 27 and completely rebuild Taxiway Alpha. So this is a reconstruction, not a resurfacing. That's huge. That was part of our planning. That will be able to increase the weight-bearing capacity of that taxiway, and hopefully then be able to get some of the heavier military airplanes in where they can hang out on the ramp and spend some money in Asia. So nut totals right here is $3.5 million from the feds. So again, all of that's, as you probably know better than I, that means we can apply for that money, and it looks good that we will be able to get that grant money. So that was really exciting. Another thing that you should have in front of you is the logo. The top logo was by choice of the advisory committee. They all voted and sent in. That was the #1 choice. The color is a little off. If we go with the color rather than just straight black and white, that'll be more turquoise than it will be blue. But that was chosen overall by most people that are out there. I'm sorry, Mr. Mayor, it doesn't have wings on it, but you tried. It doesn't mean that we can't put wings on yours for your shirt, and I think that would be really fun. The second logo, I'm going to give this to Jackie. The second logo is a logo that I think university we decided that will look really good on shirts and hats and stuff for the employees. That'll be more of an employee or a local type logo. But so I'm not bringing that to you for a vote tonight. I just wanted to inform you that's kind of where we're at, and we'll get a formal vote because I believe you all have to vote to approve that logo. But I think we're talking close to 20 different individuals that the main consensus was that one by far. So, any questions on that one? Yes, sir.
Jeff, I'd always heard our elevation was 8420.
Well, I put the field elevation, the runway elevation on there. It changes. So yes, I have 2 of those elevations also. But that is the latest engineering elevation. Before we finalize it, I'm going to go out there with my GPS and stand there and actually see what it's at. But it's like, I mean, if you go back and look at the records, it changes, and it shouldn't.
Well, there's 60 foot of fall on the runway.
Yeah, it could be one to the other, right? Yeah, so, and frankly,
So I
where
have
the
to take
engineer,
off downhill.
yeah, where the engineers stood with their GPS unit to calculate it, it's a great question, but yes, sir.
So I want us to be as high as we can.
Okay, how about I just make it 85? We'll call it good. Yes, sir.
Still 450 still?
Yes, we are.
No, I love that. Yeah, yes, sir. When I first saw that logo, when the company brought it through, the very first thing I thought is, no, we need something unique, and the elevation needs to go on there. I agree with you, it's important. We will make sure that it's accurate, but
Okay.
like I said, depending on the chart you look at, that's the primary one that we end up with. But,
Okay, thank you.
I think that's a good call. There were variations in color. Obviously, with something like that, we can do what we want with it. once you guys have decided that that's where you want to go. But I thought it was really clear. Now, here's the trivial part. Look at that logo. Jackie, you gotta look at it too. You pass it around. What do you see in that mountain? Ileana, you can't talk.
Say that again.
What do you see in that mountain?
That F is like, isn't that an aviation symbol?
Could be, but it also could be something far more simple than that.
Yeah.
You're getting close. Anybody see it? No? It's a F. So the actual angel fire is embedded within the logo. I thought the graphic artist did a really nice job on it. So, all right, moving on. In conjunction with that, and this is in conjunction with Ms. Jackie, the webpage went to engineering on Monday, and, and so we should have a website up and good to go probably within about 6 weeks. And as I had stated before, that website will be tied into the village website. It directly links to it, directly links from tourism. And then from that, our website will be all of the pilot information. Brett and I were talking today even about maybe even adding a ForeFlight link at the airport, but we already have AirDAM. We were talking about that just because ForeFlight is something pilots use, and most pilots already have it, so I've held off on putting it on our computer station just because most people have it already. But we're going to have a lot of link for all of the pilot information within that website that they want, and there will also be a link to social media then on that website. Going through, talking to the AOPA and some of the other organizations, it's a short trip to get that published and updated on their website. So that's done. The last piece of information that I have before any questions is the runway edge lighting will start on the 22nd. And so we'll have a meeting next Tuesday with the engineer and with the construction firm to confirm the actual dates that we'll have to close the airport while they're digging trenches and putting in new conduit. So everything will be laid in conduit, so no direct bury. That way the prairie dogs can't munch on the liners. That lighting again does include, just so the public knows, that lighting does include the airport beacon being repaired. So all the runway edge lights, all the signage size can increase for snow, the beacon, all of the ramp lighting, all of that will be repaired during this process. It's going to take them a week or so to get it done. So that's what's going on. A lot of stuff happening.
Thank you, Weir.
Give me an update on the meeting with the county.
I apologize. Yes, we met with the new county manager last week. She's terrific. She has background in finance with the village. I'm sorry, with the county back in the day. She's 100% behind this transfer. In fact, we're working with her right now and trying to run down those ancient pieces of equipment and funding. She knew a few of them off the top of her head from her past experience with the county. So we've created a pathway to share information, especially at this point in time with things like the financials, making sure the FAA gets all what they want. So we had that, and one of the commissioners with us in that. Everyone was really excited, so really good meeting. She got to tour the airport. By the way, I did get a letter from her today saying, please go clean the old terminal out. So we got an order to dispose of all the furniture, and so we can go in and clean that up. So if we decide we want to do something with it, it'll be an empty space. I think we've talked in the past about possibly doing something with that building until we get sponsorship change. So I stand for any other questions.
Thank you, Mr. Gilmore.
Okay, appreciate it.
I'm sorry.
Yes, sir.
Jackie Boyd in the audience has a question.
Yes.
What's the cost of the website and who will be maintaining that?
So as far as the website engineering, it is Civic Plus is the designer. And I have to look at the budget to give you that cost, but I can, it's in the budget that was approved. I can't remember what
And
it
is
cost.
that budget available?
Yeah, it should be, right? It's in the part of the, it's on the public website.
It's been published several times.
Yeah, for this.
Who will maintain it?
So, the engineering part of it, meaning if we have any problems with the website, that will continue with Chris Plex. Yeah, as far as any adding to it, upgrading it, doing any editing, that will just be airport staff, the village staff that will do that. Primarily Chris Reed will do it. He's pretty tech savvy guy, so I would assume he'll be doing that. So, yeah. Anything else? Okay, thanks.
I would like to go ahead and bring up our fire chief, Jason Vance, this evening, just to give us a little, he didn't have a report for us this evening, but I did want to just address the incident earlier this week.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, Mayor Pro Tem Howell, members of council, Manager Weir, Clerk Strickland. I'd like to report the outstanding effort of the members of public safety with the Enchanted Circle. On Sunday night at 11:42 p.m., we were dispatched to a routine commercial smoke alarm. This is something that we get on a fairly regular basis, and we report to this body. We probably had an additional 30 of those this year and counting, so it came in fairly normal. After a couple of minutes, that was upgraded to a burglar alarm. So in a firefighter's mind, we're thinking broken glass, commercial smoke alarm, broken glass. Do we have fire that's breaking out glass, or do we have somebody who's actually entering the building and we need law enforcement? And we never know. Quickly upon pulling out of the fire station, that question was answered. We could see visible smoke and flames from Fire Station 1. The location was 48 North Angel Fire Road, just up the hill, Lacuna's Grill, and a local ski shopper in that building. Within 4 minutes of dispatch, Engine 11 was on scene with 2 personnel on board. Captain Britnell and our recent hire, Tucker Harrison, had water on the fire within 3 minutes of that. It was quickly extinguished. Mutual aid was called for, and members from Moreno Valley, Eagle Nest, and Rio Fernando volunteer fire departments all answered the call and responded to the scene with personnel and vehicles. I also wanted to mention that Angel Fire Police Department deserved a special thank you for going above and beyond in their job description to help out with anything that was asked of them on the call. It's not often that you see police officers dragging hose and helping out with fire efforts. So it was greatly appreciated. Thank you. And make sure to pass it on to the gentleman on scene. Thank you. Officer Sanchez and Officer Lucero.
Officer Sanchez on duty.
Thank you. As the acting incident commander of this incident, I'm humbled to recognize the ecosystem that it takes to make something like this work. From the basic things like a working fire hydrant right out in front of that system, and Kurt Epler, and having streets department and water department all keep that stuff going. It's important. The aforementioned police department, the consideration and the cooperation of the Enchanted Circle Fire Protection and all the aforementioned fire departments, as well as this body and the dedication to commit resources and a lot of money to pay for the fire department and its services. And we don't think about it, and it's a big ticket price item. But fire department is a lot like insurance, and you don't need them, you don't need them, you don't need them until you do. And when we have an alarm like that goes off, and we have the potential for that type of fire to go off, manpower is essential. I didn't get to finish writing the rest of it, but the fire investigator came out. They could not rule out electrical as being the cause of the fire. And had this gone 4 or 5 minutes longer, this probably would have looked like a much different scenario. So the quick actions of the crews and everybody as a cohesive effort really saved that building. I'm personally very hopeful that we can, that the owners of the Vicuna Grill will be able to reopen relatively soon. And that's because of the professional effort. They didn't surround and drown. They didn't just kind of pull out the aerial apparatus and large amount of GPMs and just kind of flood this building. They actually made the proper type of attack and ventilation and everything else. And I'm very humbled to be a part of that. Do you have any questions about the call or anything else?
No, I appreciate you letting me put you on the spot. But yeah, it's just been kind of talking to town this week, so I just wanted to get it from the horse's mouth.
Well, hopefully that's a good thing.
All right, thank you. Okay, next is our police chief, Jerry Hogan.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, Council, Manager, and Clerk. Before you, you have the August 2025 recap from the Police Department activities. I'm kind of pleased to announce that we had a reasonable decline in activities for the month of August from the month of July, which, as you know, the month of July was extremely busy. August was too, but not in the criminal nature of our world, or the world I work in. So total calls for service is 237, down from 316. The incidents and call for service reports reduced from 112 to 98. There were only 2 warrants generated in-house versus 3 the month before. There were 5 arrests. I think it's worth mentioning 2 of those were for arrest warrants, wanted persons. Crash reports, we only had 2 for the month of August, so I'm proud that number's down a little bit. There were 45 citations issued during the month compared to 63 in July. Only 2 non-traffic citations, both were for minor battery fight type situations. And then under other notes, September is going to be our last month of running the traffic safety funding, our grant funded overtime. The application process for next year should open in October. On Monday, I sat through the webinar to learn what that process is going to be and the differences in the application process for the upcoming year. There are some changes that they're making, and I hope I took good notes to be able to keep up with it. And if we are successful in obtaining that grant, of course, I will bring it to that contract to council for ultimately your approval. We are still working on the ROHV, the Recreational Off-Highway Vehicle Initiative. It's my hope that during the special session, perhaps House Bill 371 will get some attention, as it almost did pass during the regular session. For those that don't know, House Bill 371 is essentially wording that removes the Department of Transportation from being the ultimate authority over municipal and local and county and any local government for a decision made to allow operations on state-controlled highways that are within our primary jurisdiction. I think it's a good amendment to the bill. It would certainly see benefit for the village and our initiative. And I also think that we might see it get into the special session because it does relate to tourism revenue for the village as well as for the state, which seems to be a motivating factor of the special session. I had a meeting this morning with Marshall Rael from Red River and others. We've been talking about our coordinated efforts for all local agencies to conduct fall training to meet all of our end of the year requirements for our certifications. Looks like we're probably going to be doing that either the end of October or first week of November to meet the December 31st deadline for that. And I'll stand for any questions. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Next is our project director, Roger Lira.
Good evening, Mayor Lindsay, Council, Manager Weir, Clerk Strickland. Let me give a little update on the projects and some of the things that I'm working on. The first one is the workforce housing. And just to let you know, we're pushing through with all the obstacles that we're running against. We're still pushing through for 6 homes, and we're still planning on that at this time. And so To give kind of an update, we've gone through some competitive bids in RFP for some services that are needed to put these manufactured homes together. And so we put 2 competitive bids together. One of them is for the 6 Clayton manufactured homes, the ones that are going to be installed at the site. And we had one respondent who is Homes for Life. And so that's the one respondent that we had, and we're going to go with that one. And we did the second bid, which is the foundations for those 6 homes. And there was again one respondent, which was F. Gomez Mobile Home Transport. So these contracts are now being reviewed by our legal department. And we're still waiting for the grant agreement from Housing New Mexico for those 2. We did a competitive RFP also for the installation of the 6 homes, we did an RFP because it was a little more sophisticated process to get those things installed, required some special licenses to hook the utilities up and everything. Both RFPs were non-responsive. So at this point, we're able to choose a company to do the work. And we're under negotiations with F. Gomez Mobile Home Transport as well. We thought it would be a good idea to have the same vendor working on the foundations and also the installations of the mobile homes. So that's that in there. Kurt Epler's team is working fast and hard still, getting that weather permitting. There's been a few days where there was a lot of rain where he's unable to do what he'd like to do, but that's working pretty good. Kit Carson is planning on the power and internet, and Suburban is planning on the 1 LP buried tank that will support those 6 mobile manufactured homes. We have a home address for the first 6 that might be interesting to know. So the address for those homes would be 40 West Flamingo Road, buildings 1 through 6, Angel Fire, New Mexico 87710. And there you go. Any questions on the workforce housing? Yes, sir.
Where's Homes for Life located?
Texas. I forgot the town, but in Texas. Fire Station 1, the RFP for the Fire Station building kit has been out for solicitation this week, and it ends tomorrow, actually. So we'll have a proposal opening scheduled for tomorrow to see who's respondents for that. The plan is to have that Fire Station building kit delivered to our new location and just sit there on the property until we're ready to establish another RFP to have an installer come in and erect that machine, that building, and also the interior, build out the interior parts of that building. While that's happening, Kurt's team will work on completing the water and the sewer provisions at that site as well. Any questions on the fire station? Frank Young Trail design phase, we're still waiting for negotiations to purchase here approximately 20 acres from the resort where the Frank Young Trail can pass through. So that's kind of at a standstill until we can get that negotiation going. If we can be successful there, that'll be the path for that Frank Young Trail. Yes, sir.
I was contacted by our surveyor, and he will have the corners of that lot staked, which was what we were waiting on to go in and evaluate the proposal to the resort for that lot. So Carl told me to have that done by the end of the week.
Thank you, Manager. I'm working on one grant at the moment. It's a quality of life grant. I didn't put that up for approval here, but there's no matching required on this grant. So I felt like it was okay to pursue it. It is due the 12th, which is this Friday. And I'm about ready to hit the button on submit, so I've got all the information. But the purpose of this grant is I'm applying for $241K to reimburse the village for a lot of the plumbing and expenses that are going on with the community center. There's about a total of $241,000 of expenses, past and current, that I'm hoping to get reimbursed for that. And then second of all, I'm applying for another $100,000 to replace 6,400 square feet of the community center floor. Not only for the existing sports and activities and events and everything that happens there, but I'd like to try to eventually, I'll probably come to council for approval for this, But my thoughts are is that maybe we could bring roller skating to the village for year-round activity, especially during ski season when there's family members that don't know what to do, they don't ski. So,
With those floors, you're gonna be able to do like the gym floors?
yes, the gym floor, 6,400 square feet approximately on the gym. And we're looking at the difference of wood floor and the tile.
Preferably the wood.
Preferably the wood.
It's a little more expensive.
Yeah, the $100,000 quote I got is really for the tile, it's actually $90,000. I heard that the wood floor will run about $150,000. But I'd like to get all $341,000 and that would help us out there. Any questions on that? That's all I came up with today. If there's any questions on anything you know that I'm working on, I'm open to that. Thank you.
Okay, next up is our finance director, Adrian Rendon.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, Mayor Pro Tem, Council, Manager Weir, and Clerk. Actually, did I give you?
I don't have a copy.
I'll give you a copy.
Sounds good.
I'm sorry. All right, it's time for me to start boring you with some numbers. So if you want to take out the sheets that I just handed you, the one on top, we'll start there. What this bar graph represents is the general fund. And so the objective is to keep that red line below the green bar. And as you can see, for 3 months, we're healthy so far. And so that's a good thing. I'll keep providing this to you. If you want to go into any detail on it, we can, but I know it's been a minute since we talked about this, just to kind of refresh your minds. The dark green at the bottom, that's money that's already been received. We've got that in the bank. The light green on top is anticipated, hasn't been received yet. The red line that you see at the bottom, the dotted one, that's what we've actually spent so far month over month. And that straighter red line going across the top is our projected end of year. And so if the projected end of year red line is below the projected green at the top, that means we're planning on spending less than we're gonna make. So that's a good thing. And also, if you wanna see a table of that, that's what the little blue is down there at the bottom. If you wanna flip to page 2, this right here is a table format of it. Now, if you prefer the graph format of it, I can give that to you. But if I do it for each fund, that adds another 150 pages to this. And so, you know, we're trying to go to this paperless initiative, and so that's,
Good start.
yeah, this is my little effort. So, but if there are any in particular, like if you wanted to see lodger tax or something like that in that graphical format, we could do that for you. It's really quick, and so it's an automated process. I just hit a drop-down button and it appears. So it's not a lot of labor, just more paper. So for the remainder of the funds, what I did is I put it in this table format for you to look at. If you look to the far left, what you're looking at is that's the 26 funds that are actually in play that we're performing analysis on. We've got a couple others, but they're for like sweeping and reconciling and dormant funds, and so we won't discuss those here, and I'm not even showing them to you. But if you look, the red portion of that, what that represents is the budget that this council approved. Starting on the far left, and then right down the middle, that's what's happened so far for expenses, and then the third red column would be what's available to continue to spend. If you move over one more into the green area, same thing. The budget that this council approved, that was the revenues that we were authorized to spend. The second green column represents what we have actually already received in revenues. Excuse me, I said spend, not spend, collect. So I'll start again. So budgeted revenue, that first green column, that's what we anticipated. We all agreed on based on the work that's being done by like project officers like Rocky, Julie, and then also just the earnings that we made through like lodgers tax and GRT. That's where these numbers all come from. And then when you look at that middle green column, that's what has happened thus far in the past 2 months and 1 week, 2 days. So unreceived revenues, that's what we anticipate we have still yet to receive. So that would be the light green on that first graph that you're looking at. And then the really important piece right here at the end, those 2 blue columns, what you're looking at is cash balances. The first one on the left is our cash balances on each of our funds today. And then the one to the right of it is where we will be at the end of the year if we stick to this scheme that we created where we said, okay, this amount of revenue into each of these funds, this amount of expenses out of those funds, that's how we finish at the end of the year. Now, you're seeing that there's 2 red balances in there. Just to kind of briefly talk to those, the first, well, actually in both cases, it's the same thing. Both of these accounts, there's already spending that's taking place against these because it has to. One of those is for law enforcement, and the other is for workforce housing. Neither of those accounts has earned revenue yet. Now, that doesn't mean that we're bouncing checks. We've got plenty of money in the bank. What it means is neither of those accounts has pulled any revenues in to, earn their keep, so to speak, but they will. And so by the end of the year, if you look to that far right, both of those accounts are gonna finish in the black. And so, that very last column, seeing every single one of those numbers in the black is what we're looking for. That means we're underspending. And if you have any questions about any of that, I'm happy to go into it in more detail.
Thank you, sir. I'm sorry, Mayor.
Can you give us an update on the audit, please?
Oh, yes, okay, so we're closing in right now. We're doing a lot of work to basically get cleaned up and ready for audit. At this point, we're basically waiting on them to help us finalize some of our reports that we're gonna need for that audit. Once that is done, then they're actually gonna lock in dates for us. Once they lock in those dates, we think they're gonna be, what's the day, the 9th? I think we're trying to get them here by the end of this month, but it's looking more like it's gonna be October at this point. So, we're waiting for that date in earnest, because we do have 2 remote workers that are gonna be key to this function, and as soon as they give us those dates, I can get them lined up so that we can fly them in so that they're here in person when the auditors show up. For me and for at least, if one of the others, this is gonna be our first time to actually meet these auditors, and so we're looking forward to that, because we're trying to establish we want to establish a positive relationship with those guys and let them know that, hey, we're here to get all this stuff cleaned up, and we've got a lot of work to do, and we've been doing a lot of the work. As a matter of fact, my personal evaluation, I feel like as far as the department goes, we're actually ahead of where I thought we would be at this point. But we still have a lot of work that needs to be done. And some of that work is stuff that shows up inside of a general ledger. The auditors are going to see it. I've gone back and reviewed it in the past. We do have findings. And I'm not going to tell you that when the auditors show up that they're going to be like, nope, you're all good. We're probably going to see a lot of that same stuff because we're working at it. But once we have them in the rooms, I think they're going to see that they've got a team that is looking forward to getting all that stuff cleaned up. And so, who knows, maybe they'll go easy on us.
Mr. Mayor, just one thing. Adrian, can you give them an update on the procedural and the interaction you're now having with the management team, the new interaction that you're putting in place?
Oh, sure. So we actually have communication has been one of the biggest problems, I think, is we've got a lot of people here who are doing a lot of really good work, but everyone's kind of in their worlds, and they're, in a lot of cases, one of the things that I've noticed, and when we've gone out and talked with our partners here in the village, is people know what they know because someone showed them how to do it or they figured it out on their own. And that's kind of how they operate, and they're doing it side by side. And when you operate like that, that's how things kind of fall through the cracks. And so we're doing what we have to do, and the things that are right in front of us and look most urgent, that's what we're taking care of. And so a lot of things that we should be doing don't necessarily get looked at. The fastest way for us to get back on the page, I felt like, was we needed to do it at 2 levels. One, the directors needed to get together when it came to talking about budget and finances. And the other piece was closer to the ground, in the weeds, the administrators, because they're the ones who are actually in there making all this stuff happen. And so the administrators actually meet with my team once a week. And so Tuesday mornings, they have the floor with us for the first half hour of a meeting that my team has anyway. And so we use that to kind of coordinate and make sure everyone's on the same page. We're identifying things that aren't getting taken care of. That way we can put them on our list of things that we need to create processes for, actually write continuity for, or write policy if we need to, and then we're going to strike it out and move to the next thing. At that point, it just becomes maintenance. The other piece is with the directors. With the directors, I meet with them. It's really up to them. Most of them are on a 2-week schedule that I'm meeting with them, and what we do is we basically just go through not only the budget, but we also talk about all the activity that's happened on their accounts within the last 2 weeks. And so that's been really, really helpful, because as you already all know, we hired a budget analyst. And so in order for her to be able to actually go in and do the analysis, she has to understand everything that is flowing through. So every morning I meet with her and we go through all of these transactions to figure out what all happened. And then when we meet with those directors, we're able to present them all the transactions that belong to their departments. And then we're able to have smart conversations about, was this what you planned on doing? Did it come in at cost, under cost? Help us to understand what it is, because we're gonna go ahead and start leaning forward and prepping their FY27 budget. So that's gonna be one of the changes is, up to this point, budgets have been done by just tranches of money. And in the future, they're gonna be done by line items so that we understand when we approve a budget, what actually got approved. That way we're not, you approve a tranche of money and there it sits, and as the year goes along, you're just taking money off the top of it. And when you do that, there's a higher risk of you running out of money before you get to the end of the year. Versus if you have a budget where you're tracking by requirement name, everything that you planned on buying, you're ticking those items, and you still got money there. So far it's working pretty well. That's pretty much what I got on it.
Yeah, Mr. Mayor, Council, I would just like to add to that when we initiated this process, I personally was very concerned about pushback from my directors, because you have the finance department entering and trying to, I don't know what the right word is, I was gonna say meddle, but it's not really meddling, it's
Micromanage maybe?
yeah, maybe, that it could be perceived as that way, but I'm very proud to state that our directors have all responded very positively, and personally, the feedback that I've received, and you guys, you better support me. No, I'm just kidding.
Get out of my budget.
It is that this is a positive move forward for the village and for the management of our finances.
Yeah, and I would like to second that, because it is a big change when you're used to doing your daily operations and suddenly now we come in and we tell you, hey, we're gonna manage your money for you. Oh, and by the way, I noticed you bought this stuff over at, Mountain Supply. Let's sit down and talk about why you bought this hammer and where is it? It's very easy for that to start to become annoying. And so these guys have done a really great job of being patient with us and understanding that we're not attacking people, we're examining processes and making sure that we have accountability, that we can show villagers that we're spending responsibly and that the money is actually staying in assets that the village can account for.
And Mr. Mayor, one final thing, these reports that Director Rendon shared with y'all, the intent within the next several months is to actually get these in a web service so that they'll be available to the public on a daily basis. Our long-term goal is to actually allow, from these summary type reports, the public to drill down to specific checks and vendors in the system. So if anybody has any question, we're gonna go as transparent as time will allow us to achieve through this process.
Thank you very much. Okay, finally this evening, our procurement officer, Julie Glenn.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, Council, Manager Weir, and Clerk Strickland. For the procurement department, I got some good news and some bad news. Tank 7 is completed. It followed all the scope of work. We will be scheduling a warranty walkthrough next week with our engineer and the contractor. And it did complete under budget and on time. We did receive a $80,000 co-op fund from local government road fund. We did not receive TPF funding, which is the first time in my 3.5 years at this position we did not receive funding. We did get voted on by our district representatives in District 4 for funding, but it got denied higher up. So I asked for $1.3 million for Upper Bill Burgess Road. The $80,000 in the co-op fund is going to plan and design for Upper Bill Burgess, so I will keep submitting the TPF funding for North Angel Fire Road, Upper Bill Burgess Road, etc. And I will stand for any questions you may have.
Manager Weir?
Mr. Mayor, Council, yes, I just would like to say that this isn't uncommon. We have had a run with our TPF funds, a pretty good one as far as the money we've received.
Over $4 million.
So they look at it at the top and they go, okay, we gotta spread the money around a little bit. So it's happened before where we've had good runs and then we've skipped a year where we've gotten nothing. So I just wanna make sure y'all know it's not uncommon. And that's, in my opinion, that's the cause for us not getting that this year.
Any committee reports this evening? If not, we'll move on to business. Item A, I'd like to open discussion to approve contract with F. Gomez Mobile Home Transport, RFP 2025-06, to construct a concrete foundation for 6 manufactured homes. Mr. Lera.
Mayor Lindsay, Council, Manager Weir, and Clerk Strickland. My intent, of course, was to have a contract that we could approve today. And because of the holdbacks, I need to ask the council if we could postpone this until the September 23rd council meeting.
We're still waiting on the grant agreement.
Yes, we are. This date, we anticipate that it could get here by the end of the week, but our legal still needs time to construct the contract based on reviewing that agreement.
So at this time, I'd ask Pro Tem Howe to make a motion to postpone.
I make a motion to postpone a contract with F. Gomez Mobile Home Transport, RFP 2025-06, to construct a concrete foundation for 6 manufactured homes.
I'll second.
Roll call vote on item A. Mayor Pro Tem Howe,
Aye.
Counselor Crane,
Aye.
Counselor Weeks,
Aye.
and Counselor Humbert.
Aye.
Motion to postpone passed.
And then I'll open item B for discussion to approve contract with Homes for Life, RFP 2025-05, to purchase 6 homes built by Clayton Homes. Mr. Lera.
Yeah. Again, Mayor Lindsay, Council, Manager Weir, and Clerk Strickland. This contract, I was wanting to get this approved today as well. I'd like to request that this contract also be postponed to the September 23rd council meeting for the same reasons.
Mayor Pro Tem Howe to make a motion to postpone.
I make a motion to postpone a contract with Homes for Life, RFP 2025-05, to purchase 6 homes built by Clayton Homes.
Second.
Roll call vote on item B. Mayor Pro Tem Howe,
Aye.
Counselor Crane,
Aye.
and Counselor Weeks.
Aye.
Counselor Humbert.
Aye.
Motion to postpone passed.
Thank you.
Thank you. Move on to new business. The public hearing will now open. The Village of Angel Fire will present the following to the public. Amendments to Title VI, Chapter 1, adoption of the 2025 Uniform Traffic Code pursuant to recent changes made by the New Mexico Municipal League. Amendment to Title VI, Chapter 1 is now open for public comment. Amendment to Title VI, Chapter 1 is now closed for public comment. We had item 2 is to repeal the repeal of cubic yard verbiage in ordinance 4-3-8-B-5-B. Repeal of cubic yard verbiage is now open for public comment.
Does that include us?
I'm sorry?
Does that include us?
You can talk now or you can talk
When we
in item C.
vote, by the way. Repeal of cubic yard verbiage is now closed for public comment. Item B, I'd like to open discussion to approve amendment to Title VI, Chapter 1, adoption of the 2025 Uniform Traffic Code pursuant to recent changes made by the New Mexico Municipal League. Chief Hogarth.
Hello again, Mr. Mayor, Council, Manager, Clerk. Before you have a staff recommendation for the adoption of the 2025 Uniform Traffic Ordinance pursuant to recent changes made by state legislative session and recommended and approved and by the New Mexico Municipal League, and they provided us with these changes. There are a significant amount, as I had presented in the last time, that we asked for your approval to explore this. So that has been accomplished. We have the New Mexico Municipal League recommendation page, which is page 2. And we have the actual proposed ordinance that was drafted. That is page 3 towards to the end of this document. This has gone to our village legal for review. We just accomplished the public comment and notice. Upon adoption or rejection, your choice. What happens tonight, then it will be published for 14 days. I do recommend approval of the ordinance 2025-08.
Any further comments or discussion? Mayor Pro Tem Hal?
I make a motion to approve the amendment to Title 6, Chapter 1, adoption of the 2025 Uniform Traffic Code pursuant to recent changes made by the New Mexico Municipal League.
Second.
Roll call vote on item B. Mayor Pro Tem Hal.
Aye.
Counselor Crane.
Aye.
Counselor Weeks.
Aye.
And Counselor Humbert.
Aye.
Motion passed.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chief. Moving on to item C, I'd like to open discussion to approve the repeal of cubic yard verbiage in ordinance 4-3-8-B-5-B. Manager Weir?
Yes, Mayor, Council, Clerk Strickland, Director Epler, apologies for not being here. He's on PTO today. But since we are in the process of having a scale installed at the solid waste station, the ordinance previously specified specifically that solid waste would be billed based on a cubic yard determination. And now it'll be switched to a metric ton. By removing this language, it simply opens it up. We could charge by any standard we want through resolution by removing this out of the ordinance. So we're not specifying tonnage, even though that we will shift from cubic yard to tonnage. We feel that the bills will be much more accurate based on tonnage versus somebody trying to measure the size of the bed of a truck and how high is it and figure out what cubic yardage was. So we're simply asking for the language calling for a cubic yard billing system to be removed, and that will allow us to start billing by tonnage.
Or cubic yard.
We'll have to continue to bill by cubic yard until we get the scales fully implemented. So yes, by removing that, we could bill either way, because as you've already passed the resolution that allows us to bill either way, we just need to get the ordinance language correct so that we can start billing by tonnage once it's available. And by the way, we have done the groundwork for the scales, and they were supposed to be in this week. Since Kurt was out, I didn't get a chance to follow up, but I think the installation of the scales should begin this week at some point.
Questions or discussion? Mayor Pro Tem Hal?
I make a motion to approve repeal of cubic yard verbiage in ordinance 4-3-8-B-5-B.
I'll second.
Roll call vote on item C. Mayor Pro Tem Hal.
Aye.
Counselor Crane.
Aye.
Counselor Weeks.
Aye.
And Counselor Humbert.
Aye.
Motion passed.
Okay. Item D, I'd like to open for discussion to approve professional services contract to install 6 manufactured homes. Mr. Larry?
Mayor Lindsay, Council, Manager Weir, Clerk Strickland. Again, this is, I was hoping to have a contract to approve the installation of these 6 manufactured homes. And it is also hung up at legal for the same reasons earlier old business were. So I'm asking the council to approve to postpone this to the September 23rd council meeting.
Pro further questions or discussion, that Mayor Pro Tem Howe could make a motion to postpone on item D.
I make a motion to approve professional services contract to install 6 manufactured homes.
Second.
Did you have a question?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well,
Did he say postpone?
no, he said approve. I heard approve.
I did too.
The motion should be for postponement, not
Okay.
for approval.
I make a motion to postpone the professional services contract to install 6 manufactured homes.
Second.
Roll call vote on item D. Mayor Pro Tem Howe,
Aye.
Counselor Crane,
Aye.
Counselor Weeks,
Aye.
and Counselor Humbert.
Aye.
Motion to postpone passed.
Thank you.
Item E, I'd like to open for discussion to approve resolution 2025-62, sponsorship to apply for the fiscal year 26 regional recreation.
Thank you, Mayor, Council, Clerk Strickland, and Manager Weir. I am also applying for the Recreation Quality of Life Grant. I'm asking for $450,000 from DFA through this grant for the Pomona CAS building that we approved earlier for the concession stand restrooms. The resolution is not a requirement for this grant, but I think it's an extra feather in the cap. And I'd like to stand for any questions you may have.
Questions or discussion? Mayor Pro Tem, if you make a motion on item E.
I make a motion to approve resolution 2025-62, sponsorship to apply for the FY26 regional recreation.
I'll second.
Roll call vote on item E. Mayor Pro Tem Howe,
Aye.
Counselor Crane,
Aye.
Counselor Weeks,
Aye.
and Counselor Humbert.
Aye.
Motion passed.
Item F, I'd like to open for discussion to approve additional position for technical writing, process administration, and vendor pay. Mr. Rendon.
Hello again. I stand before you this time. We're asking for approval for an additional position. This person would be a process administrator. Specifically, what we want is someone who's going to specialize in doing technical writing. One of the, as kind of building off of what I talked about before, we're discovering a lot of processes that, again, we're doing them because we know we're supposed to be doing them. And what we really need to do is we need to have continuity books, technical orders, we need to have policies, and there's a whole lot of things that we should have in place. Because we don't, those have been identified as weaknesses that we're supposed to resolve. The problem with that is it's very, very difficult when you're having to do it from scratch to actually, first of all, get everyone started on doing it, and then just to build the inertia, because there's an actual culture that has to be created in order to get people to build training, go in and do the training, and then maintain the training. So there's firms that actually specialize in this type of work, but when they come in, we're talking about this would be a project similar to what we're doing with New Bay, where it's not going to be measured in months, it's measured in years. And technical writers, depending on their level of expertise, can range between $50 to $150 an hour. So it would be a very expensive project if we were even able to get someone to bite off on it and come down and do it for us. That's the reason why I'd rather us hire someone that will not only, basically we're just gonna get them to start this undertaking, and they're gonna move their way through, and basically we're gonna start with foundational stuff, which is regulations, guidance that is established by the state, and from there we're actually gonna look at what we have written for the village, and then on top of that they're just gonna go in and just sit with each of the technical experts and record those processes of how everything is done, so that we can actually start to get all this material in place, so that when people show up, we want to make sure that we leave a legacy of, so that people coming in behind us actually know how to do their jobs, and not by just the, well, you know, here, let me show you how to do this because we just opened up a piece of mail and this is how you handle that. There's a better way of doing that. We need to have all those processes mapped out, and each one of those needs to have procedure reported to them. So, and again, we've got lots of policy that needs to be written, and that was one of the first things the manager told me about when I got here is, hey, we have a significant weakness with that, and there's a lot of it needs to be written. So by bringing a person on board, you know, when on my team, guys are starting a little under 20 bucks an hour versus what we would pay a firm. So as far as cost goes, it will take a little bit longer, but the other side to that too is we've got someone who's actually on staff who can work with the rest of our staff. And again, from inside, we want to create a culture of training. So we've already got a piece of software that we have in place that we're using that's going to capture all of these different, whether it's a policy letter, memorandums, technical training, it's software that's built for that. And so you choose the line that you're gonna go down, you populate it, and it's got all these little tools in place where AI helps this person to write. It sets reminders to let them know when they need to go back in and do updates on it. We can take each person in the village and by roles we assign them. And based on your roles, only training that pertains to you will show up so that, you know, guys in finance team aren't, you know, having to train on fire department procedure, stuff like that. The system automatically takes care of all that. But we have to build this in order for it to happen. And we just don't have the bandwidth to do it. It's just how it is. I mean, we just don't have enough people, you know, to just tell everyone during the middle of the day, stop what you're doing so that we can go in and just start creating all this stuff. So that's why we're asking for this. It's going to give us accountability measures for audit findings, which is going to be crucial. Because again, when we sit with those auditors, what I'd love to do is be able to introduce them to someone and say, this person is going to be the one that's going to help us to solve these problems. And then again, we're just going to begin recording all the different processes and the nuances in order to build all the continuity books. I estimate that based on what we're going to pay this person, you're looking at probably about $54.2K annually. And so $54,000 versus what we would have to pay a firm to come in and do this for us. It's up to you.
Mr. Mayor, Council, yeah, I would just like to add to what Director Rendon has stated, that, again, continuity is a big concern of mine. The village seems like with every administration, it has to go through the same cycles of rebuilding things. This will be something that will be developed so that the policies, procedures, and the training that goes along with them will be in place so that the next set of councilmen and mayors are able to utilize this to maintain continuity in the systems and the processes that the village is following. Finally, I do believe that this is an extremely important thing because our auditors say it is, and that's why we've had a reoccurring audit finding for the past 3 years, actually now it's going on 4 years, that we do not have adequate policies and procedures in place. So hopefully that, I did twice this year have to write justifications for those reoccurring audit findings on grant applications. So it is a big thing, and as far as I know, we've been able to get the grants, but it could become real negative in getting grants and appropriations having this reoccurring finding, and so we have to figure out a way to solve this issue.
And even though this wasn't a budgeted item, it sounds like there was money budgeted for contracting. Is that the money that will be used for this?
Well, sir, we didn't actually have any money set aside for this particular position. Right. And so you are correct. This is, I'm gonna have to give something up in order to get this. Right. Because we're trying to not touch the general fund. We do have money there available, but try not to use it.
And Mr. Mayor, again, and Council, I would just like to add that the reason we're bringing this before you now is we've been presented with a person that has this talent that we weren't presented with before. I mean, it's a procedure writer is someone that's a relatively unique quality that you would find, especially in Moreno Valley. And we have someone that is highly qualified to be doing this that we'd like to hire.
Any further questions or discussion? Mayor Pro Tem Hal?
I make a motion to approve an additional position for technical writing, process administration, and vendor pay.
I'll second.
Roll call vote on item F. Mayor Pro Tem Howe.
Aye.
Counselor Crane.
Aye.
Counselor Weeks.
Aye.
And Counselor Humbert.
Aye.
Motion passed.
Okay. Our last agenda item is item G. I'd like to open discussion to appoint the appointment of Julie Kuhn as the village's representative to NERPO and Kurt Epler as the alternate representative to NERPO. Manager Weir.
Mr. Mayor, Council, Clerk Strickland, so NERPO, Northeastern Regional
Transportation
Planning Organization, is a state agency that is put together for our district to help manage the distribution of state funds for roads and travel or transportation-related infrastructure projects. And so we do have a seat, being a municipality, on that board. Ms. Colhan has been the alternate for a few years now, and we'd like to make her the primary and then make Director Epler the alternate in case Julie can't make it for some reason to a meeting.
Mayor Pro Tem Howe, if you make a motion.
Make a motion for the appointment of Julie Cohan as the village's representative to NERPO and Kurt Epler as the alternate representative to NERPO.
I'll second.
Roll call vote on item G. Mayor Pro Tem Howe.
Aye.
Counselor Crane.
Aye.
Counselor Weeks.
Aye.
And Counselor Humbert.
Aye.
Motion passed.
And finally, this evening, we have our manager's report.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, just one item that I wanted to bring up more for the public than for the council. But we had a visit today from Officer Alcombe with the New Mexico Livestock Board because we have had a local ranch with cattle, and the cattle had gotten off the ranch and into the Village of Angel Fire property. New Mexico is a fence-out state, so it's not the requirement of the cattle owner to make sure their cattle don't come onto your property. It's actually your responsibility to make sure that the cattle don't come onto your property. There seems to be some confusion in the public that you're not allowed to have fences in the Village of Angel Fire, that the village will not allow you to fence your property. That is not the case. There are no, there's nothing in village code that prevents you from having a fence. There are some things in code that identify what type of fences you might need and height and so on, but there's nothing in code that says you can't have a fence. Now, that said, in your HOA, there may be restrictions on fencing, but that's not an issue from the village. It is an issue from the HOA within the community that you live if you have fencing restrictions. And so Officer Alcombe met with us this morning. He wanted us to see if we could get with the public and educate them that a couple of things. Number one, it is a fence-out state. The Livestock Board is happy to identify the owner of cattle, but the Livestock Board will not remove cattle from your property. They can contact the cattle owner and they can request that they do it. And there's no responsibility in the state of New Mexico for the cattle owners to keep their cattle off your property. It's your responsibility as a property owner. If you don't want cattle on your property, you're required to fence them out. And you'll, again, depending upon which subdivision you live in and the covenants related to your subdivision will determine whether or not you can put a fence around your property. And so anyhow, just on behalf of Officer Alcone, he asked me to try and do what I could to educate people, and I thought this would be a good forum to do that. Other than that, I have nothing.
Thank you, Manager Weir. Thank you, everyone, for attending. This meeting is adjourned.
Recording stopped.
Yes. Yeah.